People have been waiting a long time.
Yeah, well, that's your fault.
I didn't say it wasn't. Get on with it.
I've started streaming now, and I just thought that would be perfect timing.
Oh.
To get the honest truth out of you, so you couldn't then lie.
Listen, I already put in the comments section before I got here that I'm sorry I'm running late, so you can't spring that one on me.
Oh, hold on. I didn't. I thought. No, it says.
No, you are live because I've got a notification on my phone.
Well, it's saying offline to me here.
All right, okay. I've just got. It's just telling me on my phone.
People are saying hello. All right, maybe.
Yeah, just let us know if you can hear us, guys.
Oh, I think I might know why. I think I might be logged in.
You're a fucking idiot. Is that it?
That's very pleasant.
No, it isn't. It's very unpleasant.
It's because I'm logged into my other account. There we go. I need to just refresh. There we go. Now we're live. Sorry, guys. Yeah. It's going to be a bit of a disorganised, fairly short stream, but Andy was desperate to stream. He just loves his voice all over the internet.
I love the sound of my own voice, in case you haven't noticed.
Do you go back and listen to the streams after they've been done?
Yeah, in fact, I go to sleep listening to recordings of my own voice, and then when I wake up and I'm doing the dishes, I put it on again. Yeah, even like I have, as I'm saying this now, I've got the last recording we did going on speakerphone on my phone. You just can't hear it because my microphone is set up that way.
I can't listen to it again.
You mean you can't listen to us talking crap again?
Yeah, not more than once. Well, once is too many times.
Yeah, I agree. But the reason that I thought it'd be good if we did this, apart from me liking the sound of my own voice, is you can't stream now for a good while. So.
Well, I'm having a holiday for.
Yeah, you're having a holiday
week.
for about a week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do my normal scam baiting stream as well. I was just like, I'll start the holiday early. I just wasn't in the mood for being energetic and finding loads of numbers and things. Like, it looks real easy, but there's a lot more administration goes into it than you realise. Having to source all the numbers and then find fake addresses and things to use. Yeah, but that's a bit not particularly interesting. Let's talk about something more murderous or...
Well, there's something I'd like to just very quickly mention, and it is random, so I think I'm allowed to say random.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the Terminator movies?
T1 and T2, of course. I haven't really watched any since then, though.
Well, no, I don't really class any of the others as being very good, apart from Salvation, which was alright. But the point is, there's a story going around today that Linda Hamilton is in the new Terminator movie, which, of course, James Cameron is doing. So, you may not be as big a geek as me, but Cameron... You know, James Cameron directed Terminator 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then he sold the rights, well, whoever, is it Paramount, whoever it is, owned the rights to the Terminator franchise. So he lost them, and now he's got them, he'll get them back in like a year or two. So he's doing a new Terminator trilogy. He's writing them. Someone else is directing them, but basically he's bringing back Linda Hamilton, who was Sarah Connor in Terminator 2, which I just think is brilliant because she was awesome, and he's going to be back as well.
Oh, nice.
And it's just Terminator 2, in my opinion, was...
that was a brilliant movie.
I just think it's the greatest action film of all time. I know you prefer obscure, shite, independent films.
Well, I like action films.
I know, but is it not too mainstream for you?
Well, I really liked Con Air.
That's fair enough.
What? Con Air is an excellent action film.
It's cheesy, isn't it? You've got to say.
It is.
I mean,
it is cheesy, but it's pretty cool. It's got Steve.
Easier than Titanic.
It's got Steve Buscemi in it,
And
he's brilliant in everything.
he's all right. I mean, to be fair, Con Air is a good film, but it's very, very cheesy and predictable.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Yeah, yeah, it's good for what it serves.
I liked it. It had aeroplanes and explosions and fighting.
Yeah, and serial killers and people that eat people's faces, etc.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about Terminator 2, which, in my opinion, I don't know what you guys think. It's the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest action film of all time. Of course, I can't really say that because I've never seen every single action film that's ever been made, but it's the greatest action film I've ever seen. You just can't beat it. The atmosphere and the whole premise of it and the chase scene. Every time I get in a lift now, I think the T-1000 is going to chase me.
Right. I just always think of Ned Flanders with his 2 golf clubs.
That's what I mean. That's why it's such a great film, because it's been, sent up so many times. And Robert Patrick, who plays the T-1000, oh my God, he's brilliant. He just, I remember watching an interview with James Cameron when he cast him, and he said he cast him because he's got eyes like a cat, like he scans the room, and he just looks so sinister. And I just thought, just brilliant. But to have Linda Hamilton back, it's just going to be fantastic, because the Terminator 3, which was absolutely appalling, in my opinion. It made a whole joke of the whole franchise.
They seem to do that with a lot of films. Like, they have some really good movies, and then they just make too many, and it gets shit. These franchises. I was going to say, like, the Fast and the Furious, but actually all of the Fast and the Furious were pretty poor, to be honest.
Yeah, I've never actually watched any of them.
For me, I love car movies, but all the cars are a bit modern and Japanese. I like the old-fashioned muscle cars and stuff.
Yeah, you do like your crazy car films, don't you? Did you watch The Need for Speed with what's he called?
With Jesse Pinkman.
Jesse Pinkman. What's Jesse Pinkman called?
Oh, what is his name?
Right.
Oh, fuck.
Right, I'm not Googling it. We've got to think of it. Don't anybody put it in the chat, right? We've got to think.
Someone's bound to have already written it out by now.
No, I don't think they will have done. What's his fucking name? Oh, God. Some tossers put it. Brody's put it in the chat. Yeah. It's Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul. Oh, well. Thanks, Brody. It would have annoyed me anyway. And by the way, Lily wanted a shout out, and hey Chrissy, hi Brody, hi Johnny, hi Mark, Ghetto Church Corner. They're the only people I can see on the screen at the moment, but hi all you guys. But
yeah, cheers for joining us, guys. And I'm sorry, I do genuinely apologise.
The Need for Speed movie was really cheesy, but I really enjoyed it in 3D. But it's got a lot of very pretty cars in it, and it's got all the kind of supercars that I like. Like, it's got my favourite car of all time, the Elemento Sesto. Oh. And, yeah. It's not a good movie. I mean, the story is so cliche and obvious and horrible, but Imogen Poots is a very attractive lady, and Aaron Paul is not a terrible actor, so they kind of, without those two in it, it would have been shocking. But also the cars, you can just it's just car porn.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, I'm not big on cars. I kind of get why you like GTA 5 so much now, but yeah, but I can understand it. I mean, it's nice driving nice cars and looking at them and stuff, but each to their own, I suppose.
Well, see, you love things in space with phallic sword fights, and I love cars.
Well, each to their own. I like a bit of everything, really, but yeah, I do like lightsabers, strangely enough.
Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you've had a few games of lightsabers down the old urinals.
I certainly have. Dream Night for me.
Dream Night, wasn't that the username of the man you met there?
Well, that's what I thought it was. Aaron Paul was in. Yeah. So.
But
well,
with a K.
While we're on the topics of films, let's try and turn it around. And can you remember like a film you've seen that like you think that like is just total dog shit? A mainstream film, not one that's supposed to be shit, but
yes,
a mainstream film that you think's like the worst one ever.
Daredevil, the original film with Ben Affleck, was shocking.
Someone said to me about that. In fact, it's a friend of mine who's like really into his comic books and stuff, and he said that's the most underrated film ever.
He's a dick. Has he watched that movie?
Well, I'd be a bit worried if he was claiming to me that it's the most underrated film ever when he hasn't seen it.
It's... sorry, Q Marcus just said the worst film he's ever seen was Basketball. How could you say that? That's a really funny film.
I've never seen that.
But... it's from Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the guys, the writers of South Park. But I really like it. It's about two guys that invent a new sport. It's kind of silly, but I thought it was very funny. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
You see, this is the thing, isn't it? Everything's subjective, isn't it? Everybody has their own views, but there's got to be like a film out there that everybody agrees is just bad. I started watching Taken 3 a few months ago and couldn't get. After 20 minutes, I had to turn it off. I couldn't cope with it. It was that bad anymore. And Taken 1 is one of my favourite action films ever.
That's a great film, yeah.
It's a brilliant film. It was a no-nonsense. I love Liam Neeson. It was a no-nonsense action film. You know what you're getting. It was a very straightforward film. The action was great. It didn't try and be something it wasn't. And then, because it was Are you being serious, Brody? You love Taken 3, or are you being...
I haven't seen Taken 3. I've seen 1 and 2. I didn't even know there was a 3, to be honest.
Taken 2 was bearable, I would say.
Yeah, it wasn't brilliant bearable. Like Taken 1.
Yeah. But, right, fair enough. Oh, you are being sarcastic, Brody, or you did actually enjoy it?
I think you did enjoy it. Well, anyway.
Oh dear. Well, like I said, each to their own.
Someone mentioned The Room as well. I tried to watch The Room because I'd heard about how bad it was, and people were saying you could watch it ironically, but I was so weirded out after like the first 10 minutes. I was just like, no.
Who's in that?
No one that you would have ever heard of. Maybe Tommy Wiseau. He's the guy that wrote and produced it and paid for it to stay in cinemas for an extra week so that it could qualify for Oscar nominations. But they're actually making a film about the making of that film with James Franco and his little brother. I can't remember his little...
Oh, I've heard about
Dave Franco, yeah. Yeah, well, you can watch it on YouTube, The Room, I think. The whole movie's just on there because no one cares about it, but it's super weird.
It's like Ghetto's just said, The Force Awakens is universally despised. We're not going to go into this because Adam hates it, but I really enjoyed The Force Awakens, although I
don't hate it, I've just not seen it, and I don't want to see it because everyone loves it.
That's fine, I don't, it's, like I said, I don't... I enjoyed it. I know some people really hate it, but I'm a bit of a prequelist. I like the prequels, apart from Episode 1, and some people think they're the worst films ever.
The end is near. Beware's just said Mallrats, Clarks 2. What did you guys think? And I was a huge Kevin Smith fan. I still am. I think he made those are all really cool movies. Mallrats was a bit... I don't know, it was a bit of a difficult step for him going from... Because Mallrats was the first film he made after Clarks, and Clarks was like a independent, very well-made film with just loads of dialogue that was excellent. But, yeah, Mallrats I still enjoyed. I bet you've never seen a Kevin Smith movie, have you, Andy?
Are you insulting me there, Adam?
I just don't think you're the sort of person that would have seen a Kevin Smith movie.
I don't think so. Listen, right, I do try and broaden my horizons. I've watched quite a lot of independent films and just didn't like any of them.
But you can't say that about... You need to watch Dead Man's Shoes, trust me.
Right, I tell you what, I will watch that film.
Yeah.
And I watch things with an open mind. You know what I mean? I like a lot of.
But it's very low budget. I mean, but it's really well done.
It doesn't matter. Some of the best TV shows and films that I enjoy are like low budget. The budget is irrelevant if you've got a good storyteller and a talented director.
Have you seen Submarine? I bet that's far too hipsterish and independent for you.
Submarine?
Yeah, it's directed by Richard Ayoade.
No.
Okay. It's very good.
No.
It's very hipstery as well, though. It's very kind of... But I really enjoyed it. But I like Richard Ayoade. He was in the IT Crowd and Nathan Barley.
Why did someone just mention True Romance there? True Romance reminds me of the 90s.
Oh, that's a great film as well.
I'm not into Tarantino, but I really enjoyed True Romance. That was a great film.
But that's not directed by Tarantino, it's written by him.
Yeah, but
it's directed by someone else.
I'm aware it's just written by him, but obviously if he's wrote it, it's him, isn't it? It's got him all over it. Doesn't matter if he's wrote it or directed it, it's still Tarantino.
I love all Tarantino stuff, to be honest. Like, have you seen Django Unchained?
No.
It's fucking brilliant. I
don't like Tarantino.
Oh.
However, I saw an interview with Tarantino the other day, and I changed my opinion of him because I realised he's a bit of a sci-fi nerd like me. He was talking about Star Trek and what he'd like to do with one of the films, and I was like, fucking hell. Maybe I've changed my mind about it.
But just he likes Star Trek?
Well, yeah, because the reason I'm not into his films is the way that he glorifies violence and how all of his villains have got to be philosophers. It just winds me up a little bit, like every bad person's got some kind of greater vision of themselves and the world, and it's not like that. Some people are just naturally fucking idiots. And I just find it hard to buy into. And he's trying to... I understand it's clever, but it's just not for me. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not for me. And
but you're saying that like people are fucking idiots for buying into that. But you're happy to watch some ridiculous space thing that's far more fantastical.
It's you can buy into it because it says at the beginning in a galaxy far, far away. So in other words, it's in a fantasy world where your imagination.
Everything on TV is in some sort of fantasy world. It's all to an extent fiction, unless you're watching documentaries.
Well, no, that's not true at all. Because if you're depending on how you, for instance, The Walking Dead, it's a comic book series, so it's nonsense. But at the same time, if you're making it into a TV series like they've done, which has been generally successful, you've got to do it in a way which is kind of realistic. So you've got to buy into the illusion, haven't you? That's the whole purpose of TV. If it's too out there, you're just not going to enjoy it, and that's why there are certain bad movies and bad TV shows. But The Walking Dead has got a very good balance. Not, I think it could be better, but they've got. I mean, I can't really comment too much because I've not read the comic books, but a lot of people are going to disagree with this. But the original, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series, I found a perfect balance between sort of what you might consider the real world and comic book. It was comic book that didn't take itself too seriously, but also made it slightly believable, if that makes any sense. If you can have a believable film about a guy that jumps on buildings and calls himself Spider-Man.
Well, but that's kind of my problem with some kind of fantasy things. Like, I don't like it if they're in a galaxy far, far away. I want everything grounded slightly in reality. Like, for example, I love Quantum Leap, but he starts off in the normal world and then starts time traveling. That, oh man, that was a show.
I loved Quantum Leap. It was brilliant. I don't know whether Brody's saying things that he knows are going to wind me up, but I thought the latest Spider-Man...
Maybe you've just got differing tastes.
Potentially, yeah, but I thought the latest...
I'm just getting a beer, so...
Spider-Man... Sorry?
I'm just getting a beer, so keep
going. Yeah, I thought the latest Spider-Man, Homecoming, was one of the worst... Just terrible. I hated every second of it. Hey, I'm of a minority. Apparently, I read today that it's the most successful comic book film of all time. I may have read that wrong, but there was something... He's winding me up, isn't he? You're doing a good job of it, mate. Yeah, I thought it was fucking appalling. But anyway, like I said, a lot of people like it. I mean, Christ, has anybody in the chat that have you seen Spider-Man Homecoming, and what did you think of it? It got really good reviews. I think it's like in like the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes, or Rotten Tomatoes, as you may say in the US. But it's done like really well and got really good reviews. I don't understand what was supposed to be good about it. It was terrible, absolutely terrible.
What, Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah.
Was that the one with Green Goblin?
No, that was the first one. That was the Tobey Maguire one.
Oh yeah, quite like that. So they're all a bit. It's so saturated, the comic book movie market. That's why I like things to be a bit different. Like fucking Preacher, you should watch that. I've been really enjoying Preacher.
Yeah, I do need to watch that. What's that film you want me to watch again?
Dead Man's Shoes.
Dead Man's Shoes, right.
I don't know if anyone in the chat will have seen it. Sorry?
I'll add it to the list. Has anybody in the chat seen Time, the Khalif Bowder story that we talked about last time as well? Some people were on about watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Quantum Leap. We should do, Adam. And I mean, we've got loads of streams to do in the near future, but we should do a stream just about Quantum Leap and go over some of the episodes.
Yeah, I still remember. That's one of the few shows I can still remember episodes of to this day and think back to. I remember the one where because he always had Al helping him out, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was a snooker or a pool player or professional, whatever they have in America, billiards. And then he showed him the lines to shoot the right ball so that he could make this amazing shot and win the game. And there was the one where he was the blind piano player, but he wasn't really blind. And then the man photographed him in the face and the flash went off and it blinded him, and he was actually blind for a little bit.
Ah, right. I don't remember that. It's funny that you remember. There's only certain episodes that stand out in my mind. There was one where, the most powerful one, where he actually genuinely, Sam Beckett actually fathered a child because he was that in love with the person that he was with.
The one where he was the woman and he gave birth to the baby, and then even at the beginning of the following episode, he was going on to Al going, I gave birth to a baby, it was incredible. And Al's like, yeah, smoke my fucking cigar, you little bitch.
Don't remember that one.
Well, Al didn't say that part, but that's what the look on his face is. But yeah, I thought that's what you meant.
No, well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. There was a character called Abigail in it. I think Abigail was the girl that he ended up marrying, and he genuinely fell in love with her. And the woman who was the mother, she was like in a mental asylum, but she could see Al, the hologram. She could see him. And
yeah,
it was the one where Sam actually fell in love with the girl that his character, the person he was in.
Oh yeah, because like kids and dogs and stuff could see Al sometimes, couldn't they?
Yeah, certain people could see him, but it was like a two-parter. And when he came back, he went into a couple of different characters in it, but the girl that he fell in love with, the mum of the woman he fell in love with, knew who he was. He knew, oh, you've come back. And this girl gave birth, and he was actually Sam Beckett's child. It wasn't the person he jumped into.
Ah.
It was a 2-parter, and it was definitely the best. It may have even been 3-parter. I can't remember what it was called, but it was just brilliant. But he, I don't know whether I know you're not like into Star Trek like me, but what's Sam Bakula played the captain in one of the Star Trek series, Enterprise it was called, and it was absolute dog shit. I mean, what the
The
fuck
only
is it?
series I ever watched was Next Generation.
Yeah,
That was actually good because it had
it was.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart is a great actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's just said, was it about the boy who was locked up on Rikers Island? Yes, it was. It's the new documentary on Netflix. I'm only up to episode 4.
We're just talking about Star Trek and then Rikers Island. Coincidence?
Well, Riker, yeah, that's why I thought I'd go to it, because of obviously Commander Riker. Khalif, have you seen Pedro Hernandez? He's been sent to Rikers for shooting someone despite the victim saying Pedro wasn't even there. Have you heard? No, is there a documentary series about that?
What is that? What the thing's about?
No, it's about a young kid who gets sent to prison for stealing someone's backpack, but he didn't actually do it, apparently. But I've got a few issues with that show. The first Mrs. R was saying, no, the first few episodes weren't shitty. What are you referring to? I've lost that. Are you talking about the Khalif Bowder story or something else? Hi, Wallace Norman, by the way, just joined us.
Hey, Wallace.
Yeah, so we've just been... I've got no documentary, I just read about it after watching the Khalif story. There are a few... no documentary. Oh, right, no, I've not... Sorry, Sinister, I've not seen anything about that. Star Trek... Oh, sorry, Star Trek Enterprise. Yes, the first few episodes were good, and then it just went appalling. Especially the one where he keeps talking to his dog and they're reading letters from children on the bridge of the ship. I mean, that's when I lost interest in it. Andy, is the thing you talk about was the boy who was locked up on Rikers Island and then got out? I didn't know he ended up hanging himself. Oh, fucking hell. Have you just spoiled the end for me?
Brilliant.
Well,
the username is The End Is Near Beware. If you're going to talk about a show you haven't watched the whole way through, you can expect spoilers from the chat. That
To be honest, I think if something like that has happened, I've suspected it at the beginning because there was a shrine to him which kind of gave it away.
Well,
but yeah, I'd have been better off for not knowing that. I'm assuming you've done that on purpose, but cheers for that.
well, you can't blame them. If you brought up the show, you can't blame someone in the
I did
chat.
actually say a couple of times that I've watched the first 3 episodes.
Oh, well, I didn't hear.
There's always someone. Yeah, but, I mean, there's probably no point you watching that now, Adam, to be honest.
Well, I want to watch this thing I read about called American Vandal, which is meant to be like kind of a parody show of making a murderer and stuff, but it's meant to be really good as well. It's what I've heard.
Parody of making a murderer?
Yeah.
How can you have a parody?
It's like a parody. What I read was that basically it's about a boy like everyone looks down on in his high school. And one day, after school, the teachers come out and someone spray painted cocks on the bonnet, on the hood of all their cars. And then they blame it on this boy and he gets expelled, but it's all done in like the style of Making a Murderer, like how he's not really spray painted cocks on everyone's car.
I did see that advertised, but I didn't I didn't know it was kind of like that. Because I watch something on Netflix every day, so all the new stuff.
Yeah. Well, I might try and start watching that soon.
So, anything else on your mind, Adam?
Oh, it's been a nice chat about movies. I haven't really been looking into any lawn business of late.
There isn't any lawn business. It's all done and dusted.
Yeah, well, I haven't even been going back and listening to any of the old calls. Need to find a new obsession. Well, Making a Murder is kind of filling that hole for now.
Well, did you hear the executive producer on the lawn reality show?
I heard a bit about him. I've heard some rumours going around town about his dad being a coal miner.
Apparently you sound really tired, Adam. Would you like to explain the real story behind that?
Behind being really tired?
Mm.
Well, that's because I've been...
No, why you sound really tired?
Oh, well, because... Oh, we could discuss this. We talked about discussing this. Our views on the old green potion.
Did we?
Yeah, you suggested it. You said, oh, we should have a talk one day about weed. And then I said, well, it won't be very interesting. But here I am bringing it up, so...
Yeah, I mean, I've got my own views on shit like that. I mean, yeah. I just don't want to, I don't do it.
And no one should do what you don't do.
No, I didn't say that.
But it should be legalised everywhere.
Yeah, there is a case for that. I'm not sure, really. I don't know. This is the thing. It doesn't. It advocates drugs, doesn't it? That's the problem.
You mean it's like a gateway drug? I think in certain circumstances, yes. And I think as a kid, we all experimented with all sorts of...
Yes, I may or may not have experimented, but the point is, everybody's young, and I think in some cases, from a certain perspective, it's not... If you've experienced certain things, I think that's a good thing in life, but I mean, the thing is with weed, as I understand it, and I'm not a scientist who conducted my own experiments, strangely enough, it's not very good for your fucking health and your brain. It just isn't. I've seen first-hand accounts of people suffering from extreme paranoia because of it. Alcohol, obviously. I mean, I'm drinking right now, so I'm not someone here who's going to stand here and tell everybody it's wrong and you shouldn't do it. It's certainly not. I don't have the answer. Certainly not. But it's like... See, alcohol affects you physically, like for instance your organs and things like that. If you do it in moderation, it's got such a low chance of having any permanent health problems. It seems that if you're a regular user of cannabis, it can affect your mental health and in the way that your brain's wired.
I think that's I won't disagree, but I would say it's more of a trigger than it is. I think if you're of sound mind, I think it can be a trigger if you have kind of in your subconscious mental health issues. But I don't think it could be the outright cause. I mean, I've smoked it for years and years, and I've not gone mental.
But you're relatively young, so when you get older...
Not that young.
You're relatively young. At the end of the day, when you get, when you get older, and you're in your 40s and 50s, that's when it may start to affect you, and your brain may not be what it should be.
Well, maybe, but I don't know. I think my brain is pretty fucking good at the moment. It probably needs a bit of slowing down, if anything.
And I can. This is one of the reasons why things like this. Look at, everybody's got quite some strong opinions about it. I can see it already, and I understand why. Really, it's such a
it's interesting.
Controversial subject.
Well, the thing is, there's a case for everything, because like an old geezer said coke and pills should be legalised, there would not be any violence. Now, maybe, yeah, if you just legalised E's and MDMA, but I think cocaine makes some people very violent, from the people I've known a long time ago. But economists say all drugs should be legal, and then they can be regulated and be sold and be taxed. And then you wouldn't, because a lot of the time when bad things do happen to people, it's because things have been cut with other things. I mean, these are pretty dodgy geezers you're buying stuff off. If you were buying it from a shop, would be, or from a chemist, it would be regulated. But at the same time, then you can't really just go, oh yeah, I'll just go and get myself some heroin this evening.
Well, that's the thing. There isn't an easy answer to everything. You're a reasonably intelligent guy, Adam. You know that if you did legalise it all, and let's say as soon as your local idiot turned 16, he'd go out and immediately buy shitloads of heroin and shitloads of cocaine and get himself fucking completely stupid and ended up dying. And it would be a lot cheaper if it was in that situation, one would assume. Or it would at least be more accessible if it was legalised, and it would just cause chaos in that respect. But obviously, there's the other side of it where you wouldn't have the issue where law enforcement would save a lot of money, and they'd be able to concentrate on other things. So there would be that aspect of it, but this is the way I look at it.
Well, that's, I think, the other reason the economists are for it, because of course it's all about saving money. Legalised.
But it wouldn't, though. I don't think it would. The people that are drug dealers now, the reason they're drug dealers is because they're too much of a scumbag to get a proper job and work for a living and do a decent job and pay taxes and things like that. They'd just find another criminal activity to do. Like deal with illegal stolen goods or do something like that.
Glory holing.
Sorry?
Glory holing.
Yeah, so, I don't think that makes much difference at all.
No. Well, yeah, those people that deal drugs are... Well, no, but there's nice drug dealers that deal weed.
You mean like Walter White?
In my time, I've met nice people that haven't been dicks, but they've all been quite posh. There's no violence around posh people. Unless you go to rugby.
It's just, you could sell a bit of weed and all that, and it doesn't mean you're a bad guy or anything, but if you look at the overall effects that drugs have on lives and people, Breaking Bad is a perfect example, and I love that conversation between Jesse and Walt where Walt goes, it will all be done properly this time, we're the head of it all, no one's going to die, and Jesse's like, how do you know that? How do you know that no one's going to die? Yeah. And he was right. When you're running an empire like that, there's always going to be deaths, there's always going to be destruction, there's always going to be misery and pain. Because of the nature of what you're dealing with. So you'd have to have a certain moral or lack of moral compass to do that kind of thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
I've noticed we're stirring a lot of pots here because people have started writing in capital letters.
I don't disagree. An old geezer, though, says, guys, alcohol causes more death and violence than any other drugs. Fact. Well, yeah.
If you take, maybe not. If you take the overall cocaine industry into effect and say how many people have died through drug warfares Is it still true that more people have died through alcohol?
Well, it depends. Well, yeah, it depends if you're looking into like South America and places like that where the cocaine industry is huge. And a lot of people get, like that guy working on Narcos got killed, didn't he? So, but if you're talking about
people, sorry mate.
That's all right.
People are bringing up some really good points. Like Johnny Utah has just said, legalizing drugs would mean more profit for big pharmacies and pharmaceutical companies.
That money could be used to fund cancer research.
Yeah, so there's no I think this is the way I see it. There isn't one answer that is for the greater good. If you get what I mean, legalize it. There's pluses and minuses. Don't legalize it. There's pluses and minuses.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think everyone can agree with weed. I think it's no more harmful than alcohol or tobacco.
I agree. I do agree.
And so it should be legalized, because then you've cut out one business and added more tax.
Should it though?
Money.
It's a gateway drug, Adam. Do you not agree?
It depends on the groups you do it with and how. I don't know. Like when I was a kid, I never really ended up running with any bad crowds, but we all smoked weed.
No, and just because you do a bit of that doesn't.
So I don't know. It's a gateway drug depending on the circles you fall into, surely, though.
Wallace has just said that weed is less harmful than tobacco and alcohol. But don't you have to have tobacco to have weed? Not
necessarily.
But is it true? Am I not being out of order by saying 95% of it is mixed with tobacco?
Yeah, but I am addicted to tobacco. I'll admit that. I can go without smoking weed, that's not a problem, but I can't go without smoking tobacco. So.
Well, no, I don't. This is why I hate talking about this shit, because people just disagree and it can go on forever. Wallace has just said, no, it's not a gateway shit with that logic. Alcohol is a gateway drug. But I'd have to disagree with that, because it's in the psyche of people, in the general population, and this is what we're talking about. Alcohol isn't a drug. Alcohol is alcohol. It's beer. Then you've got drugs which are totally different. Yes, you're right, alcohol is a drug, but in the psyche of the general civilization population, alcohol isn't a drug. It isn't. People don't think of it like that, but cannabis is a drug. That's why it's a gateway. So I don't buy into that.
Yeah, but it's only a drug because that's the law. I mean, alcohol is a drug as well. It's classified as a drug. It's just legal. So if cannabis was legal, then it wouldn't. It would be in the same bracket as alcohol.
But it'd take a long time.
So it would be.
You're right. It would eventually. It would be the same. So it would take a long time for society in England, let's say the UK, to adjust to cannabis being a normality, like alcohol is a normality. It would take a long time, and I mean a long time, because the UK has developed with alcohol being, even like you go back 100 years or even 200 years, alcohol has always been very accessible. It's never been a problem. Well, I don't mean a problem, but what I mean is it's part of the culture of England. We're known as a nation of beer hooligans, really.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. Yeah, but exactly.
No, it isn't. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying alcohol is great. But what I am saying is, if we were going to legalise it and then it would be known as just another alcohol, cannabis, it would take tens and tens of years for that to happen. Do you agree with that?
No, not at all. I mean, they've been doing it in the States, state by state at the moment. I mean, when the USA is ahead of us on this kind of political and economic matter, you know something's not going right.
What do you mean? What are they ahead of us at?
Washington, California, there's like, I don't know, a good 15-20% of states where it's legal now.
Well, I didn't know that. So how did they deal with it over there? And how was it?
You have to go to like a pharmacy place to buy it. Some places it's still only available from. It's now been made in a lot of states, I believe, for medicinal use. But also a lot of states now it's also available for recreational use. But you have to go to like a pharmacy place and buy it there. But yeah. That's happening, and I believe the crime rates are going down in all of those states.
Yeah, I'm sure it will temporarily, but long term, I don't think. Yeah,
Well, what do you think? People are going to like come back as zombies, like mental from smoking weed? Weed just
No,
makes you
that's
chill
not.
out.
That's not what I said. I'll go back to my earlier point of saying these people that are drug dealers will find another criminal activity to do. Eventually, it's not going to change the crime rate.
But that's just bad people.
Sorry?
That's just bad people. They're
Yeah,
just
no,
bad
it is.
people.
You're not going to get rid of them just because you legalise drugs. Those bad people are still going to be there. Do you think they're all going to become vicars?
No, I'm just saying.
They're all going to have a fucking turnaround.
You're right.
Go, let's become upstanding members of society.
But you're blaming the drugs, not the people.
Sorry?
You're like having a go at me, saying, well, they're going to become upstanding members of society. Like, human personality is not my fault, but if legalizing weed makes it harder for those people to find the bad things they want to do, surely it's a start.
No, but that's not the reason that you think it should be criminalised, is it? Legalised. I mean, would you prefer it to be legalised in the UK?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because people shouldn't get arrested for smoking weed. It shouldn't be a crime
to make
to smoke
it easier for
weed.
you personally. Is that the only reason, from a selfish perspective?
Well, no, but I don't live in the UK. It's legal.
No, but
where I live.
you probably. I mean, you may not live in Spain forever, and your family are from the UK. So obviously,
I'm not worried about coming back to the UK and not being able to get a hold of weed. No, I just think it should be legalized because I think it's a ridiculous.
Because you smoke it.
Yeah, and exactly, and therefore I understand its potency and what it can do to you, and I think it's no worse than alcohol or tobacco. So why are those things legal? They should then, it should all be made legal or it should all be made illegal. I'm not talking about other harder drugs, just weed. Weed it doesn't make. Have you ever heard of anyone smoking a joint and going out and shooting some people? No, they just sat at home and watched comedies and ate biscuits.
That can't be denied. So, are you saying that 100% that you draw the line at cannabis and say, right, okay, we legalise that, but you wouldn't legalise any other drugs?
I don't think. Well, it depends. If things could be regulated and made proper, and it's very hard to make them known. But I mean, you look at some of the shit people are doing now, like this spice and that. I mean, that's technically legal, and that's
not anymore. It isn't. Not anymore. They're changing legislation all the time in the UK. It's not legal anymore.
All right, but it was. I mean,
it was because it was a very new thing, and you can't just pass a bill straight away. It took time to get that done. But I know what you mean. It's a very, very bad drug, and it was legal for a certain time. I mean, they used to call them legal highs, didn't they? Well, they still do.
But we understand weed. If it's grown in legal places and legal farms and all done in legal organic ways, we understand it as well. So there's no question of like what it can like. It's been around long enough to know long-term effects and that kind of thing. And we know the risks, but those risks are no greater than alcohol or tobacco. So therefore, why is it illegal? But yet, for some reason, somehow things are slipping through the net where people can just put a mix of chemicals that makes people into fucking zombies and allow that shit to be sold. I mean, all those people doing spice, if weed was legal, would probably just smoke weed. I mean, surely them smoking weed is better than smoking that fucking whatever that stuff is meant to be.
Well, of course it is. I mean, you know, that spice and things like that, it's just terrible. There's no doubt about that. But it's a really... I have certain views, but even I don't possess to be, you know, have the ultimate answer to this. I can see it from both sides, and I still don't have a solution. You seem to have already made your mind up, Adam, whereas I haven't.
Well, I know for certain, I don't know how far people would go in the future with other things, but for certain weed should be legal. You look at the countries that it is legal in, and I believe like they've all got lower crime rates, and I mean it cuts out one whole economy of an illegal substance being moved around, and it creates jobs. And
what you got to remember about this is the main. Let's look at what governs the UK and most countries: the greed and corruption of the government. So let's say that weed would be legalised, right? I mean, I suppose I'm moving away from whether it should or shouldn't be, but would it have advantage to the government? In other words, would they be able to constrain more? Would they be able to maintain more control over the masses? And would they make more money if it was legalised in the UK?
Yeah, well, the government would surely. The farmers would be paying tax. I mean, the thing about the drug industry is no tax is paid on it whatsoever, is it? So the farmers would be paying tax. The shop sellers would be paying tax. So the government would surely make a lot more money by making it a legal industry anyway.
If they could impose the same tax on it that they do with tobacco and alcohol.
Which they would, of course.
Well, of course. I mean, you certainly tend to think so. So, what negative aspects financially and control-wise would the government have? One would assume that there would be less crime. If there's less crime, then there's more money in their pot. You would think, at least in the short term, because like I said, I don't personally think it's a long-term solution for less crime. Those people would just find something else to do. So,
but you're only talking about the dealers. Think about the buyers. The buyers outnumber the dealers, or there wouldn't be dealers.
Okay.
So for every one bad person, there's probably, let's say, 6 to 15 people who are just pot smokers that go and have to deal with some bad guy they don't really like.
Okay. Sorry, what's your point? I don't understand.
Well, you cut out a lot of people becoming criminals for something they don't deserve to become criminals for.
Oh, you mean just for possession?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I tend to agree, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, looking at it from this perspective, it does seem that it would solve a lot of problems. So, we're looking at it from a financial point of view. It would seem, so why aren't the government doing it then? It would seem to be anti-productive for them to not do this. So what is it that, what is it, what reason is it? I mean, I think the British government are corrupt as hell. But then again, most people that live in England probably do that. So why is it not legalised? Would they get too much pressure from these, do-gooder groups? Would they not be able to maintain control because of that? What's the reason they're not legalising it?
I don't know. I think it's not high on the government's agenda with everything that's going on at the moment.
But if they make lots more money, surely it would be, because that's all they want. They want to stay in power and they want more money. That's all politicians are interested in. They're not interested in the greater good.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the parties are advocating it, but it's not in their main policies, from what I heard. I think the Lib Dems were quite pro.
I know we can't do much longer, but could you just entertain your audience while I disappear for a second, please?
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, that's well, kind of my thoughts on that anyway, guys. So I'll have a quick look at what's here in the chat. The first thing I've read is QWERTY Pumpkin has said, why did they make spanking porn illegal? Politicians can be moral busybodies. I didn't know that spanking porn had become illegal, to be fair. The hospitals would become overrun with people having... well, why did you say that, Darth? Maybe I've missed something in the chat here. Sorry, guys. And now I'm just kind of muttering. I think Ghetto Church Corner, if Lorne smoked a joint, he'd probably be a much more normal guy. I think Lorne needs to fucking smoke a fatty and just sit down and watch a film.
I'm back.
Right. Yeah, we were just discussing what if Lorne smoked some weed.
That's a good question, that. I wonder if, a happy Lorne to you as well, Chris, I wonder if Lorne has ever had a bit. I'm sure that question got asked to him in one of the phone calls, because I like it how we're moving on to Lorne. I think it's about
He
time.
did, and he said he'd never smoked it.
Ah, right, okay. Wouldn't it... Oh, God.
He said he didn't have a problem with people who smoked it, but he didn't smoke it. I remember that. It was in the Lorne live stream Q&A.
Does yeah, I mean, would you like to go for a drink with Lorne, Adam?
No.
What do you mean no?
No. I don't want to go for a drink with Lorne.
Do you not even for a little bit of curiosity?
I don't
Not
know.
because I think that you want to be his best mate. I'm not asking for that.
But you would still...
No.
It's the same you said, like, even if you tried to Skype him and have a conversation with him, he'd just get pissed off if you started talking to him. I mean, imagine...
No, but you don't have to call him being his, kiddie fiddler, do you?
No, that's what I'm saying. Now, it would be hard not to.
Yeah, Brody just asked me if I would, and I think I'd have to say yes, just for the curiosity, just to really get an impression, because all I know from him at the minute is what I've read, the videos, the phone calls. I would like my brain to process what I actually think about him face to face. Does that make any sense? Because you can't really get a grasp of what someone's like until you really meet them. I'm not trying to say that if he turned up I'd think he's the greatest guy in the world. I know that's not going to happen. It'd be interesting after a conversation with him for my brain to go, he's even fucking worse than I thought he was, or maybe he's not that bad, or yes, it's not something that I'd be very...
Oh, fuck, I've lost connection to the stream, I think. Oh, no, it's... bollocks. Right, I better write something in the chat because they can't seem to hear us. Right, let me try refreshing.
I'm not sure if we're...
No, it's not. Because it's not working. Turned it off, but hold on, I'll try starting it again just so we can say goodbye. Maybe. Yeah, nice. Right, there we go. Sorry, guys. I don't think we've got much more to say. Anyway. Well, I haven't. Anyway, have you, Andy?
Well, I can't. We was in full flow before it went down. I think I was talking about whether I'd want to
have a beer with
Lorne or not. So we've kind of lost the flow really. But I know you needed to go early anyway.
I do.
And, you sound like you're ready for collapsing anyway.
Yeah, I'm ready for my bed. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, in the chat, and thanks for joining me, Andy.
Yeah, cheers, and sorry about the ending, guys. It's going to be a few days until we do another one, but maybe we can have more to talk about next time.
All right, take it easy, everyone. Bye.